Okay, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're setting off on a really unimaginable journey into the absolute peak of extreme global wealth. We hear about billionaires and royal families all the time, right? But the scale of fortune and just the sheer excess we're about to explore today, it completely defies logic. We're looking directly at the life and the incredibly heavy wallet of Hassanal Bolkiah, the Sultan of Brunei. If you thought you understood what it meant to live in luxury, well, prepare to have your expectations completely shattered. Let's start right here. 35 lakh rupees. Now, you might be thinking this is the budget for a luxury sports car or maybe a massive down payment on a beautiful house. Nope, it's neither. This is literally what the Sultan spends on a single monthly haircut. Yes, you heard me right. Every single month, he flies out his preferred London hairstylist, Ken Modestu. And we're talking strictly first-class flights, puts him up in a 7-star hotel for 2 days in Brunei, gets his hair trimmed, and sends him back in that exact same luxury. I mean, it sets a pretty clear baseline for the level of wealth we're dealing with today, doesn't it? So you have to ask, where on earth does this endless river of money actually come from? Well, the answer lies beneath the tiny nation, Brunei. To put it in perspective, it's just slightly larger than Dubai, with a population of only about 428,000 people. But what it lacks in size, it completely makes up with vast, highly lucrative oil reserves. Because of this massive underground wealth, the citizens of Brunei are among the wealthiest in the world. And sitting at the very top of that pyramid is the Sultan, whose personal net worth is just staggering. But to really understand the spending, you have to understand the power. Sultan Hassanal Bolkiah doesn't just have money, he has absolute, unquestioned authority. He's the Prime Minister, the Minister of Defense, the Minister of Finance, the Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces, and the Inspector General of Police. He essentially controls every major lever of the government and the military. When you hold every single key to the kingdom, literally and figuratively, you answer to absolutely no one. And crucially, absolute political power equates to absolute zero financial oversight. Okay, let's move on to Section 1, Palaces, Ground and Air, exploring Istana Nurul Iman and the Flying Palace. So his main residence, Istana Nurul Iman, is officially recognized by the Guinness Book of World Records as the largest residential palace on the planet. It was built back in 1984 for $1.4 billion, but its current value has skyrocketed past $5 billion. The sheer scale is honestly hard to process. We're talking 1,788 rooms, 257 washrooms, a 110-car garage, 5 swimming pools, a massive banquet hall, its very own mosque, and 18 lifts just to get around. It's not just a house, it's a city within a building. Actually, just think about the logistics of maintaining a structure that massive for a second. It takes exactly 51,000 light bulbs just to keep his ground palace illuminated. 51,000. Imagine the daily effort required just to change the bulbs that burn out on any given Tuesday. But what happens when the Sultan wants to travel? Think about your standard Airbus A340, something you or I might take on a long international flight. Now compare that to the Sultan's version, which is famously dubbed the Flying Palace. Valued at $233 million, or about 396 crores, this aircraft is decked out with 100% pure silk carpets and completely functional 24-karat gold wash basins. It is essentially his second home, just with wings. Oh, and he also owns 2 Boeing 747s and a couple of Boeing 767s, just as backups. All right, Section 2, Pop Stars and Polo, Private Concerts and Pampered Ponies. So when the Sultan wants entertainment, he goes straight to the very top. Back in 1996, for his 50th birthday, he decided he wanted the king of pop. He flew Michael Jackson out, put him up in a first-class suite for 3 days, and paid him a reported $16 million. That's roughly 280 crore rupees for a single private performance. He also had Whitney Houston fly out for a separate private performance, which actually leads us to a pretty fascinating story. During Whitney Houston's performance, the Sultan was so incredibly impressed and just enamored with her voice that instead of handing her a standard contract, he simply handed her a blank check. No, really, a literal blank check. He told her to write down whatever amount she felt she deserved,
That represents a tiny microscopic sliver compared to what we're looking at here. The Sultan of Brunei owns more than 5,000 luxury vehicles. To store a fleet this unbelievably massive, a normal garage obviously wouldn't work. So his car collection is housed in a sprawling, custom-built 100-acre garage. And among those 5,000 plus cars, one brand really stands out. The Guinness Book of World Records officially notes that the Sultan owns exactly 500 Rolls-Royces. 500. Just think about that for a second. A Rolls-Royce is the absolute pinnacle of luxury. It's a vehicle that the vast majority of wealthy people on Earth couldn't even afford one of. The Sultan has 500 of them sitting in his 100-acre lot.
When you add up those 500 Rolls-Royces, along with the endless rows of Porsches, Lamborghinis, Jaguars, Ferraris, and Mercedes, we arrive at this final financial hammer. The entire collection is valued at over $4 billion. That is roughly 6,500 crore rupees sitting purely in automotive assets, many of which he will mathematically never even have the time to drive.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, we've looked at 3.5 million rupee haircuts, flying palaces with gold sinks, blank checks to pop stars, and $4 billion sitting in a single garage. It really forces us to reflect on the very nature of wealth itself. When you have acquired literally everything money can buy and you possess far more than you could ever possibly use in 1,000 lifetimes, what is left to desire? Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible deep dive into the staggering wealth of the Sultan of Brunei. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next explainer.